Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark, and that's your host, Jeff.
What up, Mark? How you doing at the end of this month of reviewing the movies we've been reviewing?
Rob Reiner month
Thank you.
has been kind of a revelation. I don't know about for you, but for me, it's allowed me to look at Rob Reiner, the director, a little bit differently. So yeah, do you want to tell the people what we watched this week?
Yeah, we watched LBJ, which does not stand for Long Balls Johnson. I'm really surprised. The J does stand for Johnson, though. It is from 2016, of course, directed by Rob Reiner and stars Woody Harrelson, Richard Jenkins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Bill Pullman, C. Thomas Howell, and Jeffrey Donovan, and a few others. It is a historical, interesting choice of subject because it happens around the Kennedy assassination, but it focuses on the rise of Lyndon B. Johnson to the presidency. As it gets into, here's what the synopsis says: Lyndon B. Johnson aligns himself with JFK, rises to the presidency, and deals with civil rights struggles of the 1960s. I guess that sums it up.
So this is a little bit different for a biopic because it's only an hour and 38, and that's
right.
Yeah, a very short biopic, and like I'm always down for an hour 38 movie, but when it comes to somebody's life and kind of spotlighting, this isn't a true biopic. It's because it's just a snapshot of like
it's kind of like Lincoln.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you remember Spielberg's Lincoln, it is just actually Lincoln's a really apt comparison because it's really just about Lincoln trying to end the Civil War while fighting for the freedom of enslaved people.
Yeah.
And the political stuff that happens in the background, the gameplay and the politics in the background that makes that happen. That's actually, this is, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot like that.
It's
in its plot.
And like I've saying Rob Reiner's praises throughout the month. I just don't understand him making this movie and really glossing over a lot of the plot, right? I mean, the Kennedy, like, so Lyndon B., for those that don't know, Lyndon B. Johnson was the vice president to John F. Kennedy when Kennedy got elected. There was, I didn't know a lot of, and I still don't know if it was 100% accurate, but
right.
I did.
We know that biopics are oftentimes make shit up.
Correct. But I did not know that the Kennedys did not like Lyndon Johnson. I did not know that John F. Kennedy chose Johnson as his running mate because he could get the South vote, but he didn't really have a good relationship with them. And so, the movie showcases right up to that point, and then it like the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It's kind of just it's very brisk. There a lot of time is not spent on that, and that's the turning point in Johnson's career. But we don't get a lot of time with it, and I felt like that was kind of weird. It was kind of a weird moment, and I understand why there's not enough like time spent on that. Is because the movie's only an hour and 38. But
and I think the other reason is that it's a story that's been covered many, many times, and most people kind of get the story around it and what happened at the Kennedy assassination. And it didn't want to focus too much on JFK because the movie's about long balls. And I understand why the Kennedy assassination takes a back seat. But I think they do a good job of focusing on that event as it's sort of peppered throughout the movie. So the movie's told almost like in two timelines that end up joining together. They end up meeting sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
Where you've got LBJ in his road to being selected as vice president, and then and eventually winning the vice presidency. And you've got the other thing that's peppered in between is the day of the Kennedy assassination, and it's showing scenes leading up to it. And we all know, anyone who went through high school history knows what's going to happen in Texas on 11/22/63. We all know that. And so it doesn't need to tell you everything that's going to happen, because it assumes that you know.
Yeah.
And because the movie is about LBJ, I get it. I think it makes sense. And I don't know that we needed an extra 15 minutes or so to tell me that.
Well, I agree with you that yes, the movie is assuming that you know what happens. But like, I don't know how quickly this happened. And, you know, he gets to Air Force One, and they have to, and he calls Bobby Kennedy, and he's like, hey, they want me to do the oath. Should I do the oath? And I was like, why is he asking that dude? And like, you know, standard procedure is that, and I thought it was cool is because he, you know, they're like, hey, why, you know, what do we need to do? And he's like, hey, we don't know, like, who else got assassinated. I was like, oh, okay, that's a interesting idea of, like, you don't know. And he references things in U.S. history where there was multiple assassination attempts on different,
specifically Lincoln.
Right?
They had caught someone on their way to assassinate that vice president.
Yeah.
Who anyone but me would know who the vice president was. Under Lincoln, I don't know. It's not as well documented, I think, as as LBJ taking over for Kennedy to me.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
you don't ever see a lot of like talk about the guy who followed Lincoln. Interesting.
Yes, I agree. But also I don't like, and obviously I wasn't alive when LBJ.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when Lincoln got shot.
I was not alive then either. But I don't know how popular he was. I know of his presidency and the fact that he was a one-term president. At the time this movie was made, he was the only one-term president. And so like LBJ, he didn't run for re-election, and he was the only sitting.
There are plenty of one-term presidents. He's the only one who
didn't seek re-election.
Well, he kind of sought re-election though, because like this first few years of presidency, I don't know how it works exactly, but it doesn't count as your two terms.
Correct.
Because actually I do know how it works, because the Constitution says you cannot be elected. I don't know why this is in the recent memory, why we need to bring this up, you know, but this is what it says. A president cannot be elected to the office of president more than twice.
Right.
And he was never elected the first time. So, but he did, in a way, seek re-election despite never being elected, I guess. But I guess you're right, because he never sought re-election because he never got elected in the first place.
Yeah.
Although he was elected vice president. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's semantics.
Well, I mean, you don't really get elected vice president.
You're on the ticket.
You're on the ticket, but people aren't voting for the vice president.
That's true. But
you put a
they
check
are
mark?
voting for him at the same time.
You put a check mark?
Is that bad?
Yeah.
I put check marks. I put an arrow pointing at the guy I want.
You circle the name.
Yeah, there you go. I circled the name. That's not how you do it?
Well, you know, you've been doing it all your life. Wonder if how many 1-point elections you've lost.
Well, we do live in Florida, and famously in the 2000, there was a pretty close one. So,
well, did you not poke all the way through the
Chad.
The Chad. Did you not poke all the way through? Because
Believe it or not, even though I was old enough to boat in
you
2000,
you
I would
didn't.
have been 19, and I didn't
Yeah.
know enough to do it.
Yeah. That's Anyways, I this movie, and I like Woody Harrelson. And I read a lot of after I watched it. I read a lot of reviews for this movie, and a lot of people said, "Yeah, Woody Harrelson's great in this. He just doesn't, even with the prosthetics, he just doesn't look like Lyndon Johnson." And I went and I looked at pictures of Lyndon Johnson, and I was like, "Yeah, he doesn't really look like him."
That's never been a big deal for me. And I agree that he doesn't look like him, but that's not too. Honestly, the most I know about Lyndon Johnson is his role in the movie Forrest Gump. But so that never took me out of it. The thing that took me out of it more was Woody is one of those actors who you can't unsee. And what I mean by
Correct,
that
yeah.
is it's a lot harder for him, for you to watch a movie and be like, and forget you're watching Woody. You
Yeah.
pretty much always know you're watching Woody.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of his great films, like we talked about Three Billboards and all that. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but he's kind of tough to forget. It's like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
You know, you anytime you're watching Jack Nicholson, it's hard for him to disappear into the character. And I think that's the case.
But
you know,
also Woody has a very distinct delivery of a way of talking, a delivery of lines, that you just, like you said, you can't unhear him. Even how he tries in this movie to have kind of a southern accent, a drawl to his voice, you still hear Woody Harrelson. But at the same time, I thought he was really good in this role because he's on screen for 98% of the movie. Yep. And so the movie is carried by Woody Harrelson. And I thought the scenes with him and Richard Jenkins were really good.
they were the best scenes in the movie.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For me.
100%.
Especially the one at the dinner table when
yeah.
I don't remember the whole lines, but where Woody leans over, he's like, this is the right thing to do or whatever. And Woody leans over and goes, then why are we whispering?
Right.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah. And and I don't know this guy, Joey Hartstone, who wrote this movie, but
you don't?
No.
How do you not know? Neither do I.
I just, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of good
writing credits. So
there's a lot of good dialogue in this movie. Oh, he wrote he wrote a couple of episodes of the Your Honor show. That's a good show. LBJ looks like is only one of two movies.
Like his biggest one.
Well, anyway, I just, there's a lot of good dialogue here. The dialogue between him and the Kennedys and the scenes where they're all in the Oval Office and matter of fact, one of the better scenes in the movie doesn't have Woody Harrelson in it is when the Kennedy, John F. Kennedy is talking about who his running mate should be, and he wants Lyndon B. Johnson. Everybody else is like, wow, that guy's a fucking idiot. And like, I did not know Lyndon B. Johnson's reputation was as bad as it was. I didn't realize that he was regarded as kind of a dunce in Washington at the time. And
again, we don't know that that's the case.
That's true,
but the movie might be embellishing, but
I mean, he is portrayed in this movie by the outside as being an idiot. And
people might think he is, but I think they show you, especially when he's the
whip.
Is he the whip? I thought he was the.
I don't even know what the whip.
So I thought he was Senate Majority Leader, kind of like Mitch McConnell used to be before he.
He might be. Let's see.
But like he was kind of. They show him negotiating a lot of things and getting what he wants.
Yeah.
So I think the film doesn't present him as it
Senate
does.
Majority Leader. That's what he was.
Yeah. So what Mitch McConnell
Yeah.
is or was, I don't know if Mitch is like, might still be in office, but his brain is mush now and it's gone and he freezes randomly. But so he was a very, the movie portrays him, again, I'm only going by the movie because I'm not a historic expert, but the movie portrays him as a very savvy negotiator. As far as like getting the bills passed that he wants passed and being pushy when he needs to be and knowing who to call. But then there are other times where he gives the same speech later on after the assassination to all of these incumbent, cabinet members of Kennedy's. And they all are like, did he give you that speech? He gave me that speech. Yeah, it was bullshit. And then one of the times he's like, he's quoting, I forgot who he said, but he was plagiarizing basically the speech. So yeah, there are moments where everybody else sees him as kind of an idiot, but we as the viewer do get to see more of his savviness.
Yeah. And the fact that he was selected for no other purpose than to draw Southern votes, I found interesting is because here's a Democrat from the South, and I found that part of the movie interesting is because it's like when I was growing up and learning about history, and of course you learn that JFK was assassinated, but like very little is taught. Yeah, right. Fast forward if you don't want to know what happened in history.
Yeah, you don't want to know what happens in this movie.
But
check the timestamps.
You don't get a whole lot of history on Lyndon Johnson's time in office, and so like from that aspect, I thought this movie was pretty entertaining and informative in that regard. But I really think that like it just, when you get a biopic, you're expecting a 2.5 hour movie, and I think that's probably the best route to go for most biopics, is because you need that time to really understand who the person is that you're watching and learning about, and so I really struggled with the runtime for this movie, is because it really, for a movie that's self-titled LBJ, I didn't really learn a lot about who the person was, and for what I understand, he was a very eccentric person. I
think they got into his eccentricities in this film a lot. I think that they did do a good job of kind of showing you who he is as a character, maybe not his past so much. I do kind of, and I think if you go to the chronologically feed, and I believe you were on that episode,
the Lincoln,
yeah. I think I was pretty positive on the fact that instead of telling his birth and growing up with his parents and where he went to high school and all of that crap, they showed you this piece of history.
Yeah.
And I think that they could have shown you more LBJ running for Senate and how he got or whatever. But I like the conciseness of this movie. I like that they found the most interesting part about LBJ and told that story and little else.
Yeah.
Right. I think that was, in my opinion, for me, it worked for me and was a smart decision as someone who needs the time, that extra half hour back in his life. I was grateful that they told the story the way they did. And one of the things that I think is what I found initially a bit weird, but after the movie ended, is that they portray LBJ in a gray area, right?
Yeah.
Like he is not sort of like in Lincoln, where Lincoln's great. They get a little bit into his marriage and stuff, but Lincoln is sort of seen as this sort of perfect person almost in a lot of ways, which he wasn't, because even he was pro-segregation, Even though he fought for the slaves to be freed, he still kind of didn't. Anyway, look into the history of that. But they show that LBJ is from the South, and he's not what I would call anti-racist, right? Like he's not like, how would I put it? He's not racist, but he's also not fighting for
he is
civil
not,
rights.
so
He is just like so wrapped up in his political agenda and his career that he's just going to do what that takes, right? And
Yeah.
he does not really fight for civil rights. And they show you that, right? But they also show you other parts where he is, when he gets down to it, he does recognize that, you know, the black woman that works for him is a person. She has her own drives, and, you know, and he ends up giving a really good speech at the end where he sort of fully comes around to supporting the civil rights. But even in this movie, I'm wondering, is he doing this because he knows it's the right thing? Or is he doing it because he knows it's going to help him get reelected? Because when he does get reelected, he wins his first actual election as the president on a presidential ticket in a landslide. It's like 64% of the vote, which is insane. So it just kind of makes you question, like, is he really doing it? He knows why it's the right reason, but he also doesn't always take the right steps. It's an interesting thing that they did. And they also, like, at the end of the movie, they're like, yeah, he fought for civil rights and it was really important that he did that. And he is hugely responsible for the fiasco that is the Vietnam War.
Oh yeah.
And which is why he doesn't seek re-election, is because he's very unpopular because of the way he handled Vietnam. But to his credit, several of the ones after him fuck up Vietnam more. You know, like it's Vietnam spans multiple presidencies of people just fucking it up. So
Yeah, I think. Oh, I mean, I know so, but so the Democratic Party, as it existed in the '60s, is nothing like the Democratic Party as it exists today.
And neither is the Republican Party.
Right, correct. And
right.
so,
like the Republican Party is not this state of Christian nationalists that
right.
it is today. That really didn't start until Reagan.
Right.
So yeah,
it was more like, okay, the Democratic Party was very moderate. Had these kind of conservative ideals, but were outside the establishment, right? And I really wish the movie had gotten into, the state of the Democratic Party.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. It would have been very cool, is because Lyndon Johnson was very much a pusher in the early Democratic Party.
A pusher.
and so I think in the dialogue throughout the movie, I mean, there's a scene, I think it's Bobby Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson and everybody else. They're like, hey, do we push this civil rights act, full bore, because Martin Luther King was sitting in a jail cell, and
before the government had him killed.
Right. Right. And so, like, I just, there's these small little details of huge moments in history, in U.S. history, that the movie doesn't. I mean, it just mentions. It just kind of briefly mentions in its way to the main plot device, which is the Civil Rights Act. And I just wish this movie had taken a little bit more time to kind of get into a little bit more of those nuances of the Civil Rights Act as it was trying to get passed. And there isn't a whole lot. I mean, the most we get out of it is Richard Jenkins' character, who I forget who he plays, but he's
the Georgia governor or a senator, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but he's like the big political leader in Georgia.
Right. And he's kind of your main he's not a villain, but he's the antagonist of the movement. And I just wish and Richard Jenkins is great in his role here. I mean, very the dialogue he delivers is very good. He plays a racist politician great. Which is
really good.
Probably not his crowning achievement.
Right. Nobody, yeah, for sure. But Richard Jenkins as an actor just smashes it.
Oh, yeah.
And because, and again, his scenes are the best in the movie. When he is in the movie across from Woody, like the initial, like each scene has some tension, and it just ramps and ramps and ramps. And then when LBJ is fully behind the Civil Rights Act, that's when you get the most amount of tension and stuff. And then you get the scene when he's given his State of the Union. I don't think this one was the State of the Union, but it was the address. Like the first one you do is called like the address before Congress, and then it's State of the Union. But anyway, basically his State of the Union, and you're watching Richard Jenkins just sit there and seethe. Yeah, just really great.
Yeah, it. I mean, I'm struggling with whether or not I thought this was a good movie.
Fair enough. I think there's reason not to. I'm finding the more I talk about it, the more I really appreciated a lot of what it's doing. It's filled with really wonderful scenes. I really like the scenes with LBJ and Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
Specifically the one where LBJ realizes that he is not the successor to JFK, right? When JFK is alive, again, this might be the movie embellishing, but it feels accurate to me. But he starts to realize what Bobby Kennedy is doing. He asks Bobby, he's like, why do you hate me so much? And as he's talking through it, you see him start to realize, oh, it's because you're grooming yourself to be the successor to JFK and not me. And that's when he's like, he goes to his loyalists. He's like, pack your shit. You might want to find some other jobs because we ain't going to be here long.
It got me thinking, did Bobby Kennedy have his brother killed?
No. I don't think so. Because if you look at the history, well, based within what the movie presents us, I think the movie, pretty much the assassination derails any chance Bobby Kennedy has, of becoming president.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the future is LBJ takes over. Obviously, he's so popular, he gets elected. And then his party looks so bad after the handling of Vietnam that he's shamed into not running for re-election. And so that pretty much like kills any chance of Bobby getting a chance to be president. So I'm not I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know enough to say whether that.
So according to Wikipedia, in the 1964 election where he got elected for the first time as president, he was pressured into making Bobby Kennedy his vice president at the time, but he pushed back and said he didn't like Bobby Kennedy, and so so it's like poor Bobby Kennedy. So who was this running mate? Who was his vice president for that?
His vice president
for that
was
term?
Hubert Humphrey.
Oh, Hubert Humphrey. God, nobody ever really likes the vice president.
Well, so Hubert Humphrey, while being somewhat less memorable, his predecessor was Agnew, who was I can't remember if he was going to be impeached and he had to resign. So Agnew there's a great podcast called Bagman, and you can listen to it about Agnew because nobody ever talks about Agnew. But before the Nixon stuff went down with Watergate, his vice president was doing crazy, shady shit that he got busted for and had to resign. So
That's
Just
crazy.
up and down that ticket.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't want LBJ, so we got fucking Nixon, and it's even worse. You know what I mean? Like LBJ probably would have been a better call than Nixon, but
Yeah. Anyways, Jeff, do you recommend this one?
I do. I think this is. The more I talk about it, the more I enjoy it. I think it's smart. I think it's well put together. It's a little piece of unknown history. I don't think there are very many. You think of presidents that deserve their own movie, and maybe this guy doesn't come up that often, but it's a really interesting story. And I think it was told in a concise way that makes it very palatable.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my only real big gripe with this movie is its runtime. And I think I guess the mark of a good movie is something that makes you want more of it. And so yeah, I'll recommend this one too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Woody Harrelson here. Even if he doesn't look like Lyndon B. Johnson, I think
That doesn't matter.
he carries the movie.
The makeup is bad in several places. At some points it's fine. Like they put big ears on him and those look fine.
Yeah.
But there's times where you can see the seams on his chin.
Yeah,
and it's really noticeable.
It makes me wonder what the budget for this movie was.
No way to find out, unfortunately.
LBJ budget, 26 million. So, what did it gross? LBJ gross. Oh, there's a Lyndon B. Gross doctor somewhere in the world. Movie gross. It's not explicitly available. Okay, whatever.
No one knows.
It's probably because it didn't do well. It opened to $1 million in 650 theaters. So,
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, no, it was probably a big
Oh
loss.
boy, huge bomb.
Yeah.
26 million estimated budget. Grossed 2.5 worldwide. So huge bust.
Who the distributor was? Electric Entertainment. Who's the production company on this?
It was Castle Rock, which is
really?
Rob Reiner's own
Reiner's,
company.
Yeah. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. So maybe don't do lesser known presidents.
Well,
as movies.
Rob Reiner was very into politics. He was a staunch Democratic supporter. Up into this recent past election, he was campaigning for Kamala Harris as for president, and so and that supported his affliction for American politics is supported by his filmography. He's made several movies about politics, the presidency, and from what I remember, most of them are pretty good. And so, so now that we've watched 4 Rob Reiner films, and the ones that you've seen that we didn't review, where do you put him in the director pantheon?
So if we're talking like, I don't think he has the consistency of a Tarantino.
Okay.
Where Tarantino, I don't think anybody does, where Tarantino really hasn't made a bad movie.
Right.
And I haven't watched every Ridley Scott, or not Ridley Scott film. That might, oops. Don't take that as a hint as to where we're going here in a minute. But I haven't seen every Reiner film.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he's made a bad movie. So he could be as consistent, but I mean, as far as like, when I think about him, the closest comparison I can have is Spielberg. and I consider Spielberg to be the greatest. And I think it's more to do with the kind of movies he makes,
Yeah.
the kind of storyteller he is. He is a storyteller that doesn't need a lot of gimmicks. Kind of like Tarantino has some gimmicks to his in his bag of tricks, right? The way he tells stories out of order and stuff like that. That's his bag of gimmicks. And they all work, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I think Tarantino's on the Mount Rushmore of directors. But one thing I've said about Spielberg on the Chronology podcast is he doesn't have a lot of gimmicks, right? He is just going to take the story and tell it in the best way possible. And I think that's Rob Reiner. I think
Yeah.
Rob Reiner is going to tell you the story in the best way possible without trying to, as a director, figuratively speaking, step in front of the camera, which is something that I think guys like Nolan and Tarantino, who's some other auteurs of today, it's kind of their thing. I think even Shyamalan, who I love, does it. They kind of do something during the course of the film to remind you who's directing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that guys like the reason I put Spielberg where he is, and the reason I would say Reiner's in that class is because they never do that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Despite literally putting himself on camera in Spinal Tap, that was a special occasion, and there was a good reason for it. But I just don't think it's the kind of director I respect, where you are just going to make a kick-ass movie, and you don't need to be super stylized to do it. I love the Wachowskis, but they have a style to them, right? And they pick movies that would fit that style.
Yeah.
And I think you could put a script in front of Reiner and Spielberg, and they're going to turn out a really great movie, regardless of what the material is.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with a lot of that. I think after having watched these 4 movies, having seen a handful of other Rob Reiner films, I think for me now, he will go down as probably one of cinema's more underrated directors. It's because when you talk about the greats, nobody mentions Rob Reiner.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but like, if you go and you watch his movies and you look at, like you just described, the style of film that he makes, and he doesn't really have a style. He just presents what the movie is. I really think that, he is one of cinema's better, better directors. And, it's a shame that, his life was cut short, because I really think that, now, I mean, the films that he had made more recently, were very much about certain things. They were very much stories that he wanted to tell. Like Being Charlie was a movie that he made, and it was about his son. That was, it's crazy because, a little bit of foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
Yeah, Being Charlie is a movie about his son. His son, I think, helped produce the film.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. And it's about, his son's, problems with drugs and all this. And like, that's a story he wanted to tell. I don't know about LBJ, but then the movie he directed after LBJ, Shock and Awe, was about George Bush's planned invasion of Iraq. Stories that he very much wants to tell. And then his last movie was Spinal Tap 2, which I'm not going to watch that, but
I started it. I think if you're a fan of Spinal Tap, you'll get a kick out of it, but it's not as good as the original.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he will always go down for me as one of Hollywood's most underrated directors that doesn't get probably the due that he deserved. And that's a shame, is because, he was really good at what he did. And, I'm glad we got to watch some films that I would not have sought out otherwise. Anyways,
Let's
Jeff,
see here.
what is our theme next month? Or wait, we're drafting. Oh,
Yeah.
we already talked about the theme, but it's
Yeah,
draft night.
we could remind folks though, it's been a week, and if you didn't listen to the last one, hey, that's okay.
It's okay.
What we're gonna do, and I had to kind of redescribe this to Mark, and it is a little, it's
It's not confusing, but
it's I there are things I will and will not accept as part of this. So we are going to do duologies. So the one that I think of, and I think is the best example of what I mean, is Terminator. So Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 is one of the greatest one-two punch of films within a series of all time. You don't need to watch 3. 1 and 2 are still great on their own. What I would not accept is The Lord of the Rings, because you can't just watch 2 of those movies and call it a day. So those are what I would not accept. And now Mark has probably found something I may not accept either, but we'll see, and that's fine. And if I really object, I can argue for harder, but I probably won't. So, you ready?
Yeah, you're gonna give us our first film.
So I did mention Ridley Scott,
You did.
and he's known for Alien and Aliens, which he didn't do Aliens. That was James Cameron. But that is not the duology we will be watching.
Okay.
I love Aliens. But instead, we're going to be watching Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2040 something or other.
Okay. Never seen them.
I've never seen either, right? And Blade Runner is like a legendary piece of film, and I've never seen the new one with Baby Goose. Now,
You know who else is in that movie?
No.
Jared Leto.
Okay, I've changed my mind. So we're going to watch Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. No, we're going to watch Blade Runner. There are a lot of different cuts of Blade Runner. We're specifically, let me see here.
Yeah, I don't think we should watch the theatrical cut.
No,
No,
we're
okay.
not. We're going to watch, because I wanted to look through the ones that people kind of like the most. But in 2007, there is what's called the final cut. This is the one that, as far as I know, as someone who's not watched all of these movies, this is kind of the one that people really like. Now, there's also the director's cut, which I think people really like as well. But when I kind of Google things, it's like this is the one that you want, is the final cut. So it's the 2007 cut. I'll make sure that if you watch it on my Plex, you watch the right one.
Okay. Now, are we watching these back to back? How about that?
No, well, I'll let you. What do you think? Because I was thinking we would alternate them, but we can watch them back to back. If you think that's better.
I mean, I think it would. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's hear your choice, and then we'll make a decision.
Okay.
I have a hope. I'm praying because I had the other one selected, and then you started talking before pod about what counts and what doesn't, and it gave me hope you're going to select what I was going to select, because I really want to watch specifically part 2 of this franchise. But I am now ready to hear your selection.
I mean, originally I was going to pick Lethal Weapon 1 and 2.
That.
But after,
I'm not sure that I would like, maybe, I don't know that I kind of feel like that's a duology. Is that like a great 1-2 punch? Because I feel like that whole series is kind of beloved. But if you wanted to do that, I would.
No.
I'd have to
my
feel
my other choice was Hellboy 1 and 2.
I mean, that is a duology. So is that what we're doing? Hellboy?
All right, hold on.
No, because you want to know.
You've seen those movies, right?
I've seen both Hellboys.
Okay.
And what was the other one you wanted to do?
Lethal
Oh,
Weapon.
yes, and I haven't seen Lethal Weapon in a long time. Now, let me pitch one to you.
Okay.
Can I pitch my other one
You
and see if
can.
you want to do this?
You can, yes.
I was to go back to one of our favorite films we've watched for the pod, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay.
My other option was Paddington.
Ooh. Have you seen Paddington?
No.
Let's do Paddington. I haven't seen the second one.
You haven't? Okay, because
No.
that's the one in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent where they're like, holy shit, have you seen Paddington 2? And then they watch it and like Nicolas Cage is crying and shit, because
The original, you haven't seen either one, right?
I've seen neither.
Okay. Paddington is a fantastic film. I mean, just like great.
So you're on board.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
doing Paddington.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Oh, I win and I win. Wow. This selecting a theme thing has worked out really great for me.
So, all right. How about this?
I think we should watch them in order.
I do too.
Yeah. Just for the sake of the feed.
Yeah.
Like it making sense and
Yeah. So, we'll do Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 first 2 weeks, and then we'll do Paddington and Paddington 2. Now, are we sure that March is not a...
I have triple checked.
Okay.
That March is a 4-week month. We got the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th.
April is a 5.
Ooh, and that's your theme. Have you started dreaming up your theme?
I have not, but I will. I like your duology, your theme here. I think that was pretty good and unique
I have
out of the box.
another great theme planned for my next theme. I already know what it's going to be. I don't have a movie selected for it, but I was driving and I was thinking about a movie, and I'm like, oh, and the way that it applied. You'll see. It's a creative, it's a theme that us years ago would have been proud to have as a creative idea, as opposed to movies that take place in a hospital or whatever sort of shit we were doing before.
I thought our train theme was pretty good.
It was the bare bones of a theme, but hey, you can't. Beggars can't be choosers.
A consideration for mine for this upcoming theme was Train Spotting and Train Spotting 2. I've never seen either one of them, but Train Spotting is largely regarded as a great film. And Ewan, early days of Ewan McGregor, but alas, I will not watch that movie anytime soon.
Yeah, not today.
Join us next month as we watch. We start our duology theme, where we're first 2 weeks are going to be Blade Runner 1 and 2, and then to finish the month for weeks 3 and 4, we'll watch Paddington 1 and 2. What else is a good idea is you hitting the subscribe button when it pops up if you're watching here on YouTube. Give us a subscribe so you can follow the channel so you don't miss any future content right here on our podcast. And if you want to follow the podcast on all of your favorite social media platforms, you can find us at Movie Draft House. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and right here on YouTube. Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on the worldwide internet, specifically at chronologically.net, where you can check out my other podcast and listen to it on your favorite platform. And that's it.
Chronologically.net?
Chronologically.net. I've had it for a little bit.
Oh. That's the first time you've pitched the site.
That's just because it's what came out of my brain. Because normally I just say go find the pod. But chronologically.net, you can find the pod and listen on the web, or click one of the many links for your favorite app.
That's a good idea for you and Eric, considering y'all have very many different webs of what you're doing chronologically. So, I think it's a good way to find all of the all of the things in one location rather than having to scroll, you know, to season 2 or whatever and find whatever you did in season 2. Anyways, I'm giving you a comment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff, any last words?
I'll see you next week.